three,
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Well That F and Figures on a Wednesday. We are live with Colin, as usual, and a man who's not only returning to toy collecting, but he's also making his second appearance here on Well That F and Figures.
Let me go.
Our brother, Josh Pence. Thanks for joining us, man. What's going on?
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you
Definitely.
for accommodating my schedule.
Of course. Yeah. When you ask for an extra half an hour, I'm like, shit, we can do an extra 3 hours if you want, man.
Dude, if it was on a different day, I'd be down, man.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I got to get up tomorrow morning I'm doing early shifts this week. I'm going in an hour early, and that hour kills me, man. It's like, because I wanted to get out early on Friday.
Yeah.
Because I have an appointment, and we're shut down next week, so I'm off all next week. So I kind of wanted to get an early start there, not to lie. I just wanted to get the hell out of there, man. I'm done. I'm tired. So,
I hear you.
Yeah, getting up at like 3:50 in the morning this week is killing me. I usually get up around 4:50, so believe it or not, that extra hour.
Dude, it is a big difference, man. Especially you at the ass crack of dawn.
Yeah, man. It's like I see about 10,000 more deer on the side of the road that time of the morning than I do an hour later when they're kind of going back there.
You know what I love at that time in the morning going to work? Like there'll be nobody on the road, and then some assholes roll the car over.
Yeah,
like, dude, they should just fucking pull your license. Like, come on. Like,
yeah.
There is nobody on the fucking freeway.
You'd be surprised how many assholes I see on the road. Like I go down a road where nobody travels, and then I always get somebody behind me. And I'm not a slow driver, but I'm like, dude, I'm not going that fast with these friggin' deer jumping out all the time, man.
No, with the new house, I take a different way to work too, and it takes me like back roads, like farm country land, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, and I can. That's how mine is, and I can go a different way. Like the last 2 days, so dark out that I went the other alternative way, where it's more highway, and I was like a main road, just because something told me like, don't go the other way, because you know what I mean. You just get that funny feeling like that deer is going to jump out this morning and ruin my whole week.
That would ruin a lot longer than a week for me, man. That's tough because they normally walk off pretty unscathed. I mean,
there's a guy on my job who hit like 4 of them in a year and just destroyed his bumper all 4 times.
Yep.
To the point where he had to put one of them big brush guards in the front, and he's like, "Now come on out wherever you are. He don't care now.
Now they don't jump.
They'll tear their ass up." Yeah. So let's say hi to the chat real quick before we get started. General Kenobi jumped in. He can't make it tonight. I know he got some pretty cool things going on, him and his family. So he's gonna catch us later, man. But thanks for popping in. T3, what's up, my friend? How you doing? Mega Demon, as always, is here. Foxy For Real, your buddy. Thanks for showing up, man. Trooping with Robin. She put an awesome video out the other day. Check it out if you get a chance on YouTube. I enjoyed it. Behind the scenes footage of a con she went to, so that was cool. And Josh Pence doing double duty, and Alberto Mangana. Thanks for joining, man. That's it for now. But so last time you were on, we were talking about the haters, especially. We were talking about you giving up on toy collecting and moving on to some things that are more important in your life.
Yep.
What's changed, my man? What's changed? Just give us a little insight.
Well, I'm buying toys again, so
I'm glad of that.
That's a change. Then we did get a new house since then, which I was thinking when I last talked to you, my wife and we had zero talks about buying a new house. So between that pod and this one, we went through that whole process of selling everything, and then went through the process of literally selling my house, buying this house, moving in this house. Yeah. So it's been a lot.
Yeah, honestly. Congratulations, by the way. That's a big step. You. I'm happy for you guys, man. You deserve it.
Scary.
It is, but I think, in the long run, you'll be a lot happier, and I'm sure you already are.
Dude, eons. Because I made a video like comparing the two. Just to show people in terms of like, because obviously last time I was on, I probably talked about just getting questions, or not even hate, but just people like mega judging when I would sell stuff. And I mean, I've always been transparent, but I've never like, shown or explained in detail, like, hey, me selling this means I can have this. Like, it was all more materialistic things and travel and stuff that I did with the money previous. But this time it just made sense to at least show people, and low key kind of a memory for me too. I mean, because hopefully in a couple years we forget what that house looked like. So it's a good, like, kind of grounding moment to see the difference. But because everyone saw my Hot Toys collection. And I mean, obviously, if you do math, man, I probably had like 60 to 70 Hot Toys times, even the retail price of some today, times that by 70. Like, that's a lot of money sitting there.
Hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
So when I was completely over it, man, it was just hard to see, literally tens of thousands of dollars sitting there, me not enjoying it type of thing. So I sold my collection, and I wasn't even thinking about buying a house at that time either. So when I sold my collection, it obviously gave me a bunch of money. So we went to Atlanta. Like, I bought stuff. Like, we had fun with the money, because it was, at that time, it was just like, well, whatever. And then, like, we kind of just looked at each other one day and was like, yo, we need to get a new house. Like, that's just something that needs to happen. So I was like, all right. So took money out of savings, dumped the rest of the money that I had from the collection into a down payment on this house. And it just, it felt right to show people, man. I mean, it was such a huge upgrade, because with all those toys sitting behind me, but me living in a house like that versus now, I mean, I have toys behind me, but the intention was to not really collect right away.
Right.
But to be in this, nice, big, beautiful home that neither of us have ever experienced before, man, like, that means so much more than, 70 Hot Toys, whatever I had. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
To me personally. Now, what I think a lot of people was like kind of twisting up is they thought that, like, I hated people that had collections, or I hated collecting. Like, I never did. I always speak from, like, how I feel and how I view things. So when I said that, this isn't worth it anymore, I'm sure people that like those figures or liked my collection or wish they had my collection took it the wrong way, because it was like, oh, this isn't good enough for me anymore. Like, and it really wasn't that, man. I mean, I'm glad I sold when I did, because one, I would not want to move all that stuff, because without all that stuff, moving was horrible. So I couldn't imagine is packing up. I think I had 8 Detolfs and, packing up how many Hot Toys, loading the Detolfs, putting them back up. Like, there was just way too much, where that alone probably would have made me sell my collection with how little I wanted to do that.
Right.
Cody.
Yeah. Well, and to his point and your point, very few people start in their forever home.
Yeah.
So you got to start somewhere, and I'm sure you have a lot of memories in your old house. Your kids were probably born as you lived there, and
I mean, I grew up in that house. It was originally my grandma and grandpa's house. And my dad bought property that he needed, and it ended up having that house on it. So he sold it to me when they moved out. So
you got a shitload of memories in that house, and you got to start somewhere at the same time. And sounds like you did the right thing, and whoever judges you on that, that's none of their business. And you got to do what you got to do sometime. Now, I got to ask you, did your wife sway you in any way when you wanted, did she want you to get rid of the toys to try to get a new house and, like, say, enough is enough, let's get this and move on, and maybe later we can do this again? Or was it all you?
So Karina is, like, unbelievably supportive and supporting at the same time. Like, I know that sounds the same, but in my opinion, it's kind of different. Like, you can support someone, like, being supported from far away, but if you're actively supporting them, you're, like, with them every step. You know what I mean? Like, if I want to dive into something, like when I wanted to stream during COVID, like, she was completely fine with it. She's like, do your thing. Like, she wasn't on my ass getting a job type of thing.
Yeah.
It was cheaper for me to stay home at the time with the kids than to go find a job. So she was supportive of that. If I want to sell all my Hot Toys and buy this, she was cool. So at this point, even because she has been looking at houses for like 3 years. So in her mind, like, we should have been in a house a long time ago. So I always knew it was on me, because once again, the amount of money that I had in my collection, that's close to half of a down payment on a nice house alone. So with already having that in my back pocket, I've always known, like, when I want to pull the trigger, like, we should be able to do it pretty quick. So going back to your point, since I technically sold my collection before we even thought about having a home, she didn't even really want me. She just wanted me to be happy. And that's, cliche to say, but it's so true with her, especially because from day one, she's always been down to go to every toy show, down to go to 9 Walmarts and 8 Targets in one day on a Saturday. We get up at 8 a.m. and we don't get home until like 6 p.m.
Right.
Like she's always been down. So when I started buying Mythics again, she was actually happier that I was buying toys again than she was when I sold my collection, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was happy for me because obviously we got a shit ton of money. I was happy at that time because I just wanted to liquidate everything. And but she noticed. I mean, it was 2 months of not really buying anything, and I just came to miss it. Like I've always loved Mythics, and I've always said like I would go back to them eventually or whatever, but I never did because of Hot Toys. I mean, both way expensive lines to collect at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I started playing a game called Diablo, and I started playing a game called New World that's very like mythical lore, and I love Lord of the Rings. So I was like, man, if I want to collect one thing that I don't have to have everything of, I was like, Mythics would be it. So I started talking with Big Dub a lot because he's been collecting them for a couple years, whatever it is. And I started getting in touch with a couple of my other buddies like Chris and Carvar who helped me paint the figure that I just did. Like I started reconnecting with all these people that I haven't had relationships with in a while. I was like, damn, it's kind of crazy that Mythics are kind of doing this in terms of like our similarities. So it just seemed like the right line for me to buy because they're cheaper technically if you buy them at retail or release. I mean, I could get 8 to 10 figures for one hot toy, but with the hot toys, I was such a completionist because they look so good. You know what I mean? Like getting every version of the Stormtrooper or getting a couple versions of a certain character because you love every individual outfit that they're in or whatever.
Sure.
It sucks, man. Like that's where my addictive personality kicks in, where I need all of them. But with these, I can buy 1 or 2 figures and have multiple ways of displaying it. So I don't need to have that much in terms of dollar amount invested into each figure. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
So yeah.
Are you getting a Hot Toys itch at all, or?
I am when I look at them, dude. Like, I mean, I think I've left every toy Facebook group besides my own Cincy Nerds and the new one that I just joined. It's the Mythic Legions Cabal or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I very rarely see Hot Toys stuff, but I randomly go to Sideshow and just see what's there, see what's on sale or whatever. And I'm like, damn, these look so good, but it's just such a high price point for me now, especially with this, because my house payment pretty much quadrupled in price.
Mm-hmm.
So like I always say, imagine you paid $5 a month for something and now it's $20 a month. Like,
yep.
That's kind of where I'm at on the scale. So I can't afford to do my things, spend $1,000 in a weekend on Hot Toys, Okay.
And they just keep getting more expensive on top of it.
Yeah, they do, and they're coming out with some really cool shit. I actually fell into the hole now more, but and I want to ask you something too. So before we go back to Foxy's, because I had that exact same comment with the demon. We're gonna get back to that, but before I go back to that, so when I'm watching Big Dubs, because he's gonna be on the show in a few weeks, maybe next month, I think it is.
Yeah.
But I'm watching his videos. You go down to the visit. You guys go to all the shoe stores, and no offense, but you were kind of shitting on toys. Like you didn't want to go in the toy stores at all. Now maybe that was just not shitting on them, but that was maybe you trying not to get tempted, maybe. And you were just like, I don't want to go in there. Which one was it? Like, were you really done at that point, or did you just not want to get tempted because you knew what the ultimate prize that you were looking at the house was going to be?
I want you to ask this question to Big Dub because I'm curious. I hope he doesn't watch, or I hope he doesn't watch this in a way. But I want to see if he gives you the same answer. Because me personally, in that moment, Brian and I have this thing where we met through toys, right? Like that's how he became connected to me, and honestly, Cody at the same exact time.
Mm-hmm.
But once I've grown over the years, and he's become more of like a brother to me. You know what I mean? Like. He's like family at this point. Same with a couple people that I met, Cody included.
Yep.
Now, when we hang out, the last thing we ever want to do is look at toys. So when we're together, he will joke a lot and say, "Oh, Josh, you want to go look at toys?" And I'm like, "No," because when he when he talks to me, even if he has his camera, I'm just talking to him. I'm not really talking to the camera, or I'm not like portraying in any way. So when he asks me that personally, I know that he's making a joke. So when I answer to him, everything is like that. But no, I wasn't shitting on anything.
Okay.
And
yeah, you know what? Now that you mentioned it, it did come across like that you were like maybe you guys, because honestly, when you were down there, it was like you were going shoe shopping instead.
Yeah.
So when he was joking, like, "Hey, you want to go in that toy store?" No, we got an eye on the prize tonight. We're gonna get some shoes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I mean, honestly, I can see it though. I can see it the other way though too, because like you're trying to sell all your stuff off.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You're not. You're
temptation.
You're not gonna. I wouldn't want to do it either. I wouldn't want to go in a toy store.
Let me flip this around the other way, because I am 100% with you. I'm sure people thought that I was shitting on toys, like I don't want to look at toys type of thing, right? But does everyone not understand whose house I stayed at? It was Big Dubs. His is a fucking museum. Like I was staring at toys. I was looking at stuff that I used to have. I was looking at stuff that I've always wanted. A toy store would be safer for me to go to than his house, because he has everything you would ever want. So, and his Mythic collection was insane then. And that was even more of a reason why I kept eyeballing these, coming back to it. Yeah. So listen, it's like an alcoholic walking into a liquor store and just, okay, let's just browse. Like that's Big Dub's house.
I was just gonna say,
I mean, I was hanging with OG down at ICCC, and he told me the exact same thing. He's like,
yeah,
that house is amazing. It's like, but how do you sleep in that house? Like you wake up and everything's staring at you and shit, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like, holy shit, it's all over the place.
There just has to be new stuff to look at every day for him, even him.
Maybe we should start like a Hot Toys Anonymous group. We can all meet up once a week.
Yeah, my name is Joe, and
I go over coping mechanism. You know.
Yeah. That's kind of, even when he was selling his collection, that's how I was, because at that time when I went down there to help him sell, I was the addict. So every hot toy that I boxed up, I was like, what do you want for this? Like, let's work out something type of thing. So he sold his collection. I think I walked away with 9 hot toys and like 4 ginormous totes full of figure arts. I mean, I sold all that stuff. Like I bought that as a business play, and he blessed me with it. But I walked away with 9 hot toys for my collection. Like I was like, hey, I need something. I need my fix. And I was down there helping him sell.
Yeah.
Dude, you see it in the groups and like on Instagram and everything, the way people act about. And I mean, I get it. Like they don't want to miss out on stuff, or like the social media really amplifies that, but people, a lot of them do sound like addicts. Like, well, get that for me. Can you get that for me? Like, I don't want to miss out on this. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
you almost do need some groups.
It was kind of crazy to kind of yo-yo out of that whole thing. That whole community within span of 6 months, let's say, because I went from buying a lot of hot toys and wanting so many to I'm selling all my toys. I'm not collecting anymore. I move into a new house and boom, let's just buy some mythics. And then I spend, too much money within literally 1 week, because it's always my like luck where if I start collecting something new, right? Like when I post about, I bought this Mythic Legion. What everyone doesn't see is my DMs. They don't blow up. Like, I'm not over exaggerating this, but I get a handful of people. Hey, I'm selling this if you want it, dude. Oh, you're back into Mythics? I got this. And they're always great prices because people, I don't know, I guess they want to give me a deal, or they're just trying to get rid of it. I don't know. So then I go from only wanting to buy 1 or 2 figures just to see how I like it to all of a sudden I have 10 figures because these figures are priced $30, $40 below retail. And I just, I'm like, I can't pass this up. Like, when am I ever going to get a chance? So that's like the addict coming out in me. But people see me do 0 to 100, which I really do technically. Like, I am that kind of person. But with this, I did not want to do this. So for context, Mythic, the 4 Horsemen, the cheapest way to get a Mythic Legion figure is from Four Horsemen directly. It's not to go through Big Bad and all this stuff, because after Four Horsemen sells out of their inventory, then they release their inventory to like Big Bad and online retailers, and they have a set price. So it's $50 a figure to buy from Big Bad, or it's $37 to buy from Four Horsemen. So for the longest time, Four Horsemen was out of stock because of, COVID delays, and it takes forever to get their stuff in. So I'm like, okay, I'll buy a figure off of Big Bad, and I bought off of something else. Well, Four Horsemen randomly that weekend that I start collecting says, hey, we're doing an in-stock sale. The trolls that are normally $120, they're $80. All these figures that are $80, $90, yeah, they're $35 with us.
Uh-oh.
So I'm instantly like, because those trolls are almost $200 figures, and they were selling them for 80, 85. So of course, I had the money, like I was trying to be smart, but I look at Karina and I'm like, honey, and I gave her the whole spiel, and she's like, just do it. She's like, you bought us this house, you did everything, just spend on yourself. $1,200 later, I have all these mythics, and I'm like, damn it. Like and that, I mean, it happened with Hot Toys back in the day, man. Like I started collecting those, and I guess because I do have a social media presence, like I have more of a reach than someone who logs into Facebook twice a week to check their groups. You know what I mean? So I have more people that will reach out to me and want to sell me something than a normal person posting on Facebook does. So it's hard, man. I tried not to spend money and be smart, but I can't pass up a deal. It's bad. I don't know. I'm probably one of the very few people, because a lot of other people are smarter and they will not spend money if they shouldn't. But if it's a good deal, man, and I have the money, it's game over.
I'm the same way.
I think it's more common than we think in the collecting community.
I think it's just not talked about as much.
Yeah, like people hide it, but like you can just tell by how they act, like when a new turtle gets released or something, it's like on, like until they get it. They don't care how, if they don't think they're gonna get it, they'll go buy it from eBay. They don't care. And it's like, no, dude, just give it patience, But I think it's a lot more common than we think.
What's the, speaking of turtles, Target just released like a bunch of sets. Was that like the Haulathon or Necathon or
the Geekathon or some summer or whatever?
They released it during it, but I heard it wasn't even a part of it.
Oh, it wasn't? No. Because that's like another good example in terms of like that, is because NECA will hit you with 11 things at Target dropping on the same day.
Yeah.
And obviously Target is notorious for distribution, yada, yada, yada. So talk about FOMO. People are eating their cereal and see it, and they're out the door that morning. Like, they're ready, but there's no warning, no nothing.
And
that's
now,
what's
like,
crazy.
And now, like with those, when you buy shit online, you can like, I forgot what they're called, but there's like, you can pay like increments. You know how many people people have like 100,000 payments going right now,
dude. Yeah, I was I do a lot of that the Shopify paying for whatever it is, just because it's so convenient. Because it's like, well, I have the money now, but it's what's up before payments. And then you do that 2 or 3 times, and you're like, damn, I got this thing a month and a half ago, and I'm still paying on it.
Right?
Like that sucks to still get hit with those bi-weekly.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
So let's go back a little bit now for Foxy for Real's comment. That demon, you were sitting on the step at your old house. And I saw it, like after somebody mentioned it, they put like the time stamp in the comments, I believe.
Yep.
I went back. So there was nobody in the house but you at that point?
No, I mean,
what the hell was that then?
So to be transparent, like my son was in the house that day, but if you watch like 30 seconds before that clip, because I very rarely will cut my YouTube videos up anymore. Like I'm just lazy when I edit, so I try to make sure everything is like going with the flow to where I know when I edit, I don't have to like look for that dead air to cut it out, So if you look at that clip, man, you see me going up the stairs, you see me showing you every single room, and then I turn it around and sit on the stairs. Like and there's a lot of other things, like if you really watch it, and only I know this because I live there, but like where the shadow pops out from, the stairs are like right here. So it's not like a head level. Like my son would almost have to be laying down flat, and the speed at which it perfectly goes left to right, it's just not a human like movement, and it was dark. It wasn't like a flesh tone. You know what I mean? Like I start thinking about all that stuff, and we had shit happen to us all the time in that house, like ridiculous amount. And Cody Foxy, he was a witness. There was one time they were over and they had their diaper bag because they brought their little baby, and the diaper bag was sitting in my kitchen on the counter, and we were all just standing there. We've walked by it. It's been hours at this point, right? And we're all just standing there, and all of a sudden it just flips off the countertop. Like it's standing straight up, and we witnessed it because we were looking at that direction, or it was close to us or something, and it just fell.
Right.
And I looked at Cody and his wife. I was like, "See, I told you." So
now we know why you
chill.
moved.
This is great. I love it.
Yeah.
What other kind of stuff happened? Do you remember anything else?
I mean, I always had that feeling of like, you know, something you catch something out of the corner of your eye, or I don't know, whatever. There was no way, it just randomly felt. Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. Footsteps, lots of footsteps. I mean, my house, it was built in 1928. So I mean, it was an old house, and it was spooky. But yeah, footsteps more than anything. And in our upstairs bedroom or bathroom, we had like this medicine cabinet, but it was a big one. It was 3 panels, and you like open it with the doors and, you know, the mirrors or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And in the middle, it was still like an opening thing, and it was there since I was a kid. So at least like 25 years, this thing has been there. And it was Christmas Eve of, I think, this past year. And my wife and I, we were just laying in bed. We were watching TV. The middle shelf fell off. Like, so it was on a hinge, right? Like, because it opened, but it was the kinds where like the pegs just like sat in the hole.
Yep.
So you'd have to lift it out and to get it, right?
You have to hit it from the bottom, yeah.
And I went into the bathroom. I was like, what the fuck was that? And I go in, the door's laying there, glasses everywhere, chipped our countertop and everything. I'm like, the door wasn't even like, it wasn't like we left it open. We closed it because that was the middle one. So that was the one we looked in, like brushing your teeth, you know, doing whatever. So
that's some freaky shit.
Yeah. And that was towards the end of us being there. So
now we know why you moved.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So.
Where that's pretty cool and all. I wouldn't want to live there for sure. I mean, I could go in there and visit, but yeah, that's
you should have had like a paranormal activity YouTube channel going.
Oh man, you could.
Dude, I bought one of those. It's called a spirit box. I'm so into ghost stuff. It's annoyingly ridiculous.
I love that shit too.
So I bought a spirit box, and I've walked around the house before, but I can never hear anything because the static was always so loud. And I guess I just live in a place where there's a lot of radio stations. Because when it would swipe through, all I heard was, I never heard white noise. I only heard radio stations. So didn't get very far.
They were radio stations from our time, right?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, not the creepy 1920s music.
Yeah,
that would be something else.
Like little like kids in a choir singing, because they're always creepy. The little kids singing in a choir. That shit's creepy, man.
Oh yeah. Oh, Steve, Teacher Steve's in here.
Steve, welcome to the chat. Yeah, and Christian Cooper and Izzy, he's back. Dave Figueroa, looks like he's new to the chat. I think that's about all that's new. So, how many months are you into the house? 2 months now? 3 months? What is it?
We moved in at the end of May. So,
oh,
wait, I'm an idiot. The beginning of May.
Okay, so almost 2 months.
Yeah, so it's going good though.
Yeah, getting domesticated. I saw you. You know, we were talking about door handles and shit. Like who talks to Josh Pence about door handles? You know?
Yeah, yeah. That was
used to be hot toys, now door handles.
So how's the community been since you've like been back? Like, you know, I not want to say like you left, but
no, I didn't. I mean, I did hypothetically, but
like mythics and getting it.
Dude, to be honest, this is probably the best ever because I have not had like one shit comment at all, like on anything. Because I mean, I've done, let's see, the house video. I've probably done like 4 hard videos, and I think I've done like 2 or 3 live streams maybe. Since I've been in the new house, which pretty much means I'm back into collecting type of thing. I really thought I was going to have something, but dude, I haven't had a one, and I'm so shocked, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought for sure I'd get it on the house video, even if it was like, oh, look at this guy, showing off his house. Like, dude, it was so like the support was crazy. So pretty good, man. So this makes me even happier. Now I don't care at all.
Maybe you got rid of all the assholes when you took a break.
I don't know what
You know
that
what I mean?
Dude, I think I lost like 900 and something subscribers I lost after making that video,
Yeah.
which is pretty crazy.
The comments I love the best are the fucking idiots that are like, imagine what you'd have if you didn't buy toys. Like, do you really think I give a fuck what you say? Like,
Yeah.
Imagine if you weren't a fucking dickhead. Like,
Yeah. Actually, dude, that's another great point to touch on. Why I did the house video too was because of that. Like,
right.
Everyone wants me to collect, and not wants me, but like they watch me because I go to Walmart and buy Marvel Legends and all this stuff. Like they do that, but then they're also kind of the same people are like, oh, you buy too much, and then I sell something, and then they give me shit for selling. So now, since I was able to show them, like, well, these are the comments. You want to know what people would get if they didn't buy toys? This is it. So
I guess I'll just never understand why people think what they need. What do they need to spew their two fucking idiotic sense for? Like,
yeah,
I
mean,
don't.
the last time
I'll
I
never
checked,
understand.
anybody can do whatever they want with their own fucking money. You know what? Who cares?
Like, who are you to tell me I buy too much or I'm wasting my money or like, who the fuck are you?
You can't take it with you, man. You got to enjoy it. You know.
I used to reply back to those people and be like, "What? Like, here's my PayPal. If you would like to send me, X amount of dollars, I will buy that figure. I will collect what you want me to collect, if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. But if I'm spending my own money, then I'm gonna buy what I want. I mean,
here's my PO box. Send it to me.
Or the ones that they're talking shit about you collecting toys, and it's like, dude, you're watching my videos about me collecting toys. That makes you worse, dude.
Yeah.
Like
it's pretty apparent, my thumbnail and my title, even the whole concept of my channel and what you're clicking on.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've never came across toy collecting videos unless I was looking for them. So
yeah.
I mean, I just don't get it.
How mad did it make you when you got that? Because I'm going to ask this because I told Colin one time on the show when Nerdzoic did the room tour at my house, I got a comment saying, you spent all that money on toys. You're not even a collector. You're just a buyer. And I'm like, 10 times, I shit you not, I started to reply that with like, fuck you, dude. And then I erased it and then started writing again, and then I erased it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to get suckered into this because it's just going to be back and forth with somebody I'm never going to run into.
Yeah,
and I told Colin, we should have had the fucker on the fucking show, and then we can debate it here. But how mad did it make you? Like, did you ever reply like I was about to, or did you hold your ground and like I did and say, I'm not even going to get into this shit?
In the span of making videos, or in the span of getting hate? Or just recently?
Ever.
Yeah. So in the beginning, I definitely probably replied to more and gave it more thought than I should have, because it's way too cliche to say don't read the comments and don't listen to what people have to say, because there's a big difference. Because the person that's telling you don't listen to what people are saying about you or don't listen to them, they're not having literally 20, 30, 40, 100 different people say the same thing over and over to them, and you have to kind of like come to terms with it. Like, you have to read it every time. They're not reading it. It's not about them. So it's very hard to not read them and to not feel some type of way. I mean, sure, maybe if we were all millionaires off of this, we could be like, yeah, whatever, let me just go open my $400 bottle of wine tonight. Fuck them, whatever. But us being normal people, like, there's what we're doing is out of passion or out of us expressing whatever. So when people are negative about that, it's going to hurt our feelings. We're not doing this as a job, so we don't have anything that's easy for us to kind of just say, that's fine. Don't worry about them. They're jealous of me, that kind of thing, because this is our passion. It's not really like a job. It's not an income. It's not okay, well, I have to do this, for my own good. Like, we're doing this for fun, and it hurts sometimes. But to get back to your question with that long-winded fucking answer, Now I don't care. Now I'll just be like, yeah, dude, you're totally right. Like, yep, I do have a big head. Yep, I sold all my stuff that was stupid. Yep, I'm a scalper. Sure, dude. Whatever you got to say, because I've heard it all at this point. I mean, it's whatever now. But now that I'm comfortable with it, I don't get that comments anymore.
Yeah. So let me welcome a couple more people. Trey, welcome to the chat. And Steve Green, is that the Steve Green from Big Dub?
Yeah,
is that the guy who eats all the crazy shit? I love that guy, man. I watch his videos with Dub more than any of them, man, because he does some crazy shit. He's a good sport.
Yeah,
it's awesome to have him in the chat, man.
Steve's awesome.
Yeah. He seems like I don't know, man. How does he put up with all this shit? Like eating all that crate because Big Dub has like a bag of shit in his like just for on the ready, like when he comes over and it's like is a bag of death, I think he calls it, or some shit.
Yeah, I mean I've witnessed all of us hang out and Brian not even having anything ready, and he walks out of the gas station with, "Here, Steve.
Yeah.
Pick your poison."
Steve's a star, man. I'm glad to have him in the chat, man. That's awesome. He does have a legacy.
Yes, he does. Yeah, Steve's the man.
Yeah. Awesome. I especially I was telling OG, I was like, I love the castle videos.
Oh yeah.
I guess it was Toylanta, and you guys stayed at the castle.
Yeah.
And,
dude,
it was a fucking shit show, he said. And I told him, I said, next time you guys do that, I went in on. We were talking about booking that for Toylanta next year.
Yeah.
And I said, I went in on that because he was like, yeah, I'll let you know. Because I said, that's the kind of shit show I like.
That was my first video that I uploaded that was not heavily toy related. Like it was more of like a vlog per se, because I recorded the outside because I think I was pretty drunk.
You were. You had that.
I was.
What is it called? Daddy something or other? What is it?
No. That was IC. Happy Dads.
What are those things called? I haven't seen them in the stores here yet.
Which one? The one I was drinking?
The Daddy something.
The Happy Dad.
Happy Dad. Yeah.
Yeah. So that IC, I was blasted, but I'm talking about Toylanta, like the castle year. I think I was drinking or something, and when we got to the what's it called, the castle for the first time, it was Seth, OG, and Jan, and they were all freaking out. And I had my camera. I was like, oh, I have to record this. So I record all the way from getting there, and then and then Seth took me through the whole house, and I recorded a bunch of that, which was pretty cool because that was the first time I was like, yeah, we'll just see how it goes. And I mean, people liked it, but I don't know. I like to be in the moment more than record the moment. That's why I like being with Brian too, because he's really good about filming what's going on versus.
Yeah, I love those vlog type because you get I don't know, it's just, you can watch a toy hunt over and over and over and over, but when you see actual life and I don't even know how he does it, man, because even when he goes out to eat, it's like he's taping the whole time. How the hell does he even have the patience and the time to do that? Because I'd be tearing my food up at the time, but
yeah.
So it's I like those kind of videos. I love his Sunday videos because it's just like life, man. It's not something different, It throws a little bit of toys in there and all kinds of shit, man. Seth, welcome to the chat, man.
Yeah, Brian really does good at that. I've always said that.
Yeah, and he was at your wedding or in your wedding, right?
Yeah, pretty much both. Yeah, he surprised me with it.
Yeah.
They're actually coming up for PowerCon in the middle of August, like the 10th. Him and Natalie are coming up for a weekend.
I was just going to ask if you were doing any conventions coming up.
Yeah, just PowerCon for now. Mainly because Four Horsemen are going to be there. And it'll be that time where they sell them at the cheapest price point that you can get them at. So it's nice to do that. And then Brian and Natalie kind of need a good reason to come up here as well. Just because it's hard with their babysitting and stuff. So they kind of need multiple reasons to drive all the way up to Ohio. So so it just made sense to go to that. And then I went to a toy show this past weekend that was local. And it made sense to go because it's in Cody and Brooklyn's direction leaving. So we were like, oh, we'll just stop by there before we get lunch before you guys head out. So we weren't there too long. I think the only other convention that I want to go to, it's called Legions Con. It's in New Jersey.
Yep. I was thinking about going to that, even though I don't collect them.
Mm-hmm.
It's so close. I kind of wanted to check it out. You never
Oh,
know.
that'd probably be a badass convention to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
It's only like 2 hours away, so I'm like, why not just take a trip? Maybe I'll see.
Yeah, that's the only one that I'm considering. The only thing really stopping me is just possibly doing the trip alone, because Cody talked about going with me, but it's kind of, I mean, at that point he'll be with a 2-month-old baby, so I don't know really how much time he should or would be traveling. So that's really the only thing that it bums me out, is because I'll have to fly there by myself and do everything. I don't know, get a car, because the airport's like, I think like 30 or 40 miles from the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, there's a whole lot of logistics going into it, and it would be planned very last minute, because I'll have no time to save, because I have to get my flight, get a hotel, get car rental, get the ticket and all that stuff. Oh, and save to spend a shitload of money on figures, because that would be, I mean, literally the whole convention is just Mythic Legions, so it would be hard not to spend.
Right. Yeah. That's trouble.
Yeah.
So I guess it was December of 21. I was watching your videos, watching Big Dub's videos, and watching OG Geeks videos, and you guys were mentioning this ICCC thing. At that time, I had no idea what it was, but as I looked into it after finding your videos, I went last year. I talked to you and your wife. You guys were awesome. I talked to a bunch of people there that I watched. Fell in love with that con. Went back this year. I know, obviously, you weren't into Star Wars and Hot Toys right now. You're trying not to anyway. Any chance you're going to be going next year back to this, or are you?
To IC?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I think the main thing that got us down there last year was the podcast, the live stream thing.
Yeah.
That we had, and everyone went up. Seth and Mike and Brian and Natalie. Like, it was almost like a mini Toylana meetup, I guess, because that's really when we all get together. Well, when I used to get together with them was Toylana. Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see. I would like to go down there. I mean, my wife loves Nashville, so she would go there without the convention whenever. So
yeah, that's how I get my wife to go. So we drive 12 hours, 2 years in a row, and she was kind of bribed with like Broadway and drinking and hanging out and partying and all that kind of cool stuff. But this year, I don't know if you've seen it, but like we were like, even OG's wife, my wife, we're all hanging out, and it was it wasn't at a hotel this year. He did like a bigger spot. It was different. It was
How
good.
was it?
It was different. It was at a big I guess it had like multiple like buildings, and it was a gigantic building, like a convention center for the actual con.
Mm-hmm.
Had beer trucks, food trucks outside. They had a whole separate little building for the podcast, separate they had a separate building for the VIP and things like that. They had a demolition derby. They had a helicopter rides, all that shit. It was ridiculous. It was like a state fair kind of thing. It actually was like on a state fairgrounds type of thing. So yeah, it was a lot different. Than last year for sure, but good. And I loved it. I just felt like last year everything was right there, and it was.
That's what I was going to ask next. I would miss like that hotel lobby feel, because dude, some of my best moments from that trip were in that damn hotel lobby. Like,
yeah, me too. Like, yeah.
Would you say it was too big this year? Like too spread out?
I don't. On paper, I think that it was a really big step. It was like from A to L. You know what I mean? Like, there was not a big baby step, which kudos to him. Like, I mean, he has the resources to pull it off, and it was good. But I just, I don't know. I felt like maybe you could have went to like an
in between.
Oh yeah, in the room swap. Yeah, Seth.
Well, yeah, and they had room swaps. Like, they had 4 hotels. The hotel across from me did the room swaps, and well, they had room swaps in our hotel, but they had a lobby swap and all that shit across the street from me. So we end up hitting that.
Yeah.
I do think I loved it this year. I loved it last year. I do think for having it on Memorial Day weekend, I
I
think
forgot it was on
the
that weekend
spot
too.
was too big for having it on Memorial Day weekend. And I think he realized that because he's trying to get it off of Memorial Day weekend next year.
Mm.
But for us as like, you know, customers and people walking around, like, going to the con, it was fine because like we weren't bumping into anybody. It was plenty of space. I didn't wait more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes for my food from the food trucks. I walked right up to the beer truck, to the alcohol truck, and got my drinks. And
I was just asking because like when
Yeah.
I watched your videos and stuff of it, it didn't seem like there was a lot of people. Like
yeah, like if you go outside, the fairground is so big that you can have 1,000 people out there, but it looks like nobody because it's so huge out there.
Yeah.
And they had a whole separate building for the panels, which was nice because it was just first come, first serve. It wasn't like, here's a wristband, wait for this time, or any of that crap. It was just, you're there and you get whatever seat you want. You're good to go.
Yeah.
So it was easy. It was good. And it was so spread out. But I think he realized, although he did really well with it, I think he realized that Memorial Day weekend is probably not the best weekend to do it because there's a lot of shit going on.
Well, yeah, I mean that's like one of the major party weekends, holidays.
Yeah, and when I
Right.
first told my wife we were going on Memorial Day weekend, she said, "Are we going to hit a lot of traffic?" I'm like, "Probably not, because everybody's going to the shore, and we're going into into Tennessee. So, like, I don't think we have to worry about it." I mean, and we didn't hit any traffic going down. Maybe like on the way back for like a little 10-minute stop, but not bad. And we end up leaving on Memorial Day on the Monday, so you would think we would hit a lot of traffic. We only hit like maybe 10 minutes of traffic. So.
Yeah, I forgot that it was on Memorial Day. Yeah, and it's also weird because I think the year before he did it in April.
He did like the 28th, 29th,
It was like
and 30th or something like that. Yeah.
The end of April. Now it's the end of May. So
Yeah.
I mean, next year it'll be like fall.
I questioned him on that when he first did it, but who am I? I'm some jackass asking, "Hey, why are you doing on that weekend?" It's like it's gonna be crazy busy like everywhere else, but I don't know about this. But he tried it, and I really do think, from what we talked about the other night on General Kenobi's show, that he's trying to get it off of Memorial Day weekend at any cost, like just trying to move it up or back or something. But
yeah, I mean, you got to think that that's just not the
then
most lucrative.
But it must have affected it pretty much.
I had the time of my life 2 years in a row. I can actually say that. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more than them past 2 years. So I'm going back next year for sure. I don't know if I'll drive again though, man. 12 hours. My ass gets numb. I'm tired,
And do you drive in like the day that you're going to the show, or do you have travel days?
No, like last year we did 5 days. This year we went Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so 6 days. So we left really shit early in the morning, like 2 a.m. in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're packing the car by 3 o'clock in a.m. We're driving out of the neighborhood, and we get there about, I want to say like 2 p.m. in Nashville, which isn't bad. And we stopped a few times too, grab something to eat, use the bathroom, stop at a couple Targets and things like that. But it wasn't bad. I mean, the drive's not bad. It's just 12 hours is bad. It's like it's actually not a bad. Like it's pretty much a straight shot for me. I make I'm on like 2 or 3 different highways, and that's it. Because the GPS will say stay on this highway for 500 miles, and I'm like, shit, that's a lot, dude. Like, don't break it up. So it doesn't seem so bad, but
dude, 12 hours doing anything sucks.
Yeah,
especially driving.
12 hours of work sucks, and 12 hours of driving sucks. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Seth and Mike's was 15 hours. Ugh.
Yeah, but then they stopped at Big Dubs, right, and stayed the night or something last year, maybe, or
they could have.
Not sure. I know Mike, when he was leaving ICC this year, he was headed, I think, to Alabama, and then going home. So he was still driving more. I'm like, this dude, man, he's crazy. So.
Steve and Dave did a 14-hour trip to Michigan with Brian. I forgot about that.
12 hours is the longest I've ever been in a car, man. That's it. Like that's.
I've done like I think it from here to Arizona it was like 35 or something.
And we go to Myrtle Beach almost every year, and it's like 9 hours. That's nothing now. Like I could do that in my sleep now. After 12, 13, you know.
The worst part of it was Oklahoma because you go down and then you go across, so you feel like you're in Oklahoma for fucking 2 days.
That's the same as like when you go down to Myrtle Beach and you get to like Virginia. Virginia is big as hell if you think about it. Like it takes forever to get through Virginia for me.
Yeah, it was I hate driving with a passion. Like toy department is about an hour from me, and I hate the drive to toy department. Like I can ride in a car fine, but I hate driving.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind driving, but just something that, you know. And last year I drove all the way to Nashville and all the way back, with the exception of like 1 hour. This year I couldn't pull it off. Like on the way home, I told my wife, I was like, do you mind switching for a bit? She's like, yeah, go ahead. And then she drove most of the way home because I was just beat ass tired from walking for 3 straight days. We must have done like 40,000 steps. That's how big this place was, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's huge.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully like next year I fly because I don't really want to drive, but
yeah,
we'll see.
I don't blame you, man.
Yeah, so Seth says they stopped at Dove's and did the rest the next day, but we drove straight back. Wow, that's a long ass ride.
That's commitment.
Yeah,
seriously.
Yeah, because I don't think him and Mike live relatively close. I think they're a couple hours apart. If I'm not mistaken, but
I think you're right.
Yeah, so even when he got to Seth's house, he still had to drive more. So
it's crazy that I hear like they actually don't even live right because everybody's always hanging out and everything because all live far as hell away from each other.
I had like friends 2 hours away. I'm like, I gotta see every once in a while, not like every week and shit. But or maybe it's not every week, but it seems like it because you see them together all the time. But yeah, that's crazy. Any other shows coming up in your area at all? Smaller ones?
Yeah, there's like that. There's one called the Cincinnati Toy Show, and then one called the Columbus Toy Show, and they're ran by the same promotion company. And they do, I think the next one, it's in like, it's at the end of August. There's one, and I say this now, but I probably won't be going just because PowerCon's like 2 weeks before. So depending on, I don't know how the videos are going and stuff, I might go, but that's really it. Because Legion's Con, I think, is in November, so that would be enough time. Because I have my wife and I, we have a trip with like 5 or 6 other couples. We're getting a big cabin down in Pigeon Forge at sometime around the end of September. So that's a trip we have to budget for. So, goes back to the house talk. Now I don't have the luxury of doing all those shows on top of vacation, so I have to pick and choose. So we just had Cody in Brooklyn last weekend, so there was money there. And then Brian and Natalie are coming up for PowerCon, so that's August. And then the end of September is the cabin trip, and then possibly Legion's Con in November. So that's really it. I mean, Ohio, like my part of Ohio, man, like there's shows all the time when it's con season, which is it's nice, but it just goes back to like the temptation thing. Like, it's hard to not go because you never know. But I have to say no, because if I go, I'm buying something. Like it's just one because of content, 2 because it's my personality. So
yeah.
So
how about Toy Ohio, whatever it's called? Do they still have that?
Yeah, that's super far from me. That's I think that's on the east side of Ohio, and that I think I mapped it out. It's like 2 or 3 hours, and that's a lot for me in a day trip. Like it tells you how much I hate to drive. Like I can't do that in a day trip. That's just too much.
2.5 like 2 hour drive got to be really worth it.
Yeah, and especially
I can do that. I can do 2.5, 3 hours. Anything more than that, like it has to be more than a day trip. I don't know, because you figure you got 3 hours. 3 hours, it's 6 hours. You want to spend somewhere like 4 hours there, then you got that's a 10-hour day. And you're beat ass tired, and you gotta, it's a lot. Because I was gonna ask you, like going to New Jersey, I mean, it's pretty much a straight across shot. What is it like? Maybe how many hours would that be? Like maybe 8, 9?
If I drove, I think it's at a little over 9 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm flying to that 100%. There's zero chance I'd be driving.
And everything you're going to pick up is probably like smaller because it's the Mythic Legion. It's not going to be a big hot toy box, pretty much.
Yeah,
So
and
easier
I would ship it if it got
Yeah.
too crazy too.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know. You could fall back into Hot Toys that weekend. You know.
I think you will. I really do.
I can't.
You see that wall right behind you? You got to move that bed and put some detolfs along there. And
That's also another reason I'll never collect Hot Toys because I'll never spend the money on a detolf like that. I'll never spend $130 on a detolf.
no, they were $70 when I bought mine, man. Like $80, whatever.
Yeah, I don't really think they're worth $130.
No.
They're really not. I mean, they're nice, but they're not $100 and some odd dollars. Nice.
They make things look nice, but they're really not like that nice.
Yeah,
You know,
the quality isn't worth it. For
Yeah.
sure.
It's IKEA shelf. I mean,
Yep. So that's honestly another big factor on why I'll never go to Hot Toys.
the thing that's been turning me off is just the continued price hikes. Like, I just don't. I don't know. It's everything is just too expensive now. Like nothing makes sense. It just sucks.
I know, man. I'm with you. That's why I go back to Mythics because it's. I mean, I could go on and on for a while about why I feel like Mythics are a better value, and I even made a post about this in my group, and it's obviously it rubbed people the wrong way because it felt like I was shitting on Marvel Legends and Black Series, but for the price point of $37 that you get with Mythics, the soft goods, the detail, that's just on and on, versus literally $30 of what you're getting on a Marvel Legend. And then even if you go into like the deluxe versions of stuff, which we can all argue, is it really a deluxe version? It's $45 retail.
Yeah.
And I get it. People love Boba Fett. People love Star Wars. Like they love that lore. Like they've grown up with him. I 100% get that. But for me, when people ask why don't I collect Black Series or Hot Toys or whatever, it's because the value just isn't there anymore. For me personally, Mythics, I understand they're not for everybody at all, which is honestly, that's great because then it's going to keep this price point at an affordable rate because they're not going to explode. There isn't going to be so much new demand on them if all these people don't like them. So I'm cool with it, but $37 versus $32 on a Marvel Legend, like the values with these things for sure. Even on their live stream, when the Four Horsemen were showing off their figures, they were like, you guys are going to be pretty surprised, but yet again, we got this at $37. And everyone was literally freaking out because you get a figure with soft goods, 3 or 4 different beautifully painted head sculpts, weapons, interchangeable armor, interchangeable hands, like all sorts of stuff at a $37 price point. So it just makes sense. And with the Hot Toys, that's its own toxic brew of a mess with head sculpts and likeness rights, and you got to pay for this, and Disney charges an arm and a leg for you to be able to make their stuff. Like, I understand all that money is built into those, but when it goes to me personally, man, I just don't have what would it be, probably $350 tax and shipping out of Sideshow for a Hot Toy, maybe $320 at this point. I don't even know what a retail, what's a normal start,
easy, probably right around what you're saying.
$285 to $315 ish
is the retail price. So then plus tax and shipping on top of that. Yeah, I mean $300 with tax and shipping, you're at $330.
That's not like the collector one either. That's that's the base.
I don't go to Sideshow either. I go to Underground Figures, and they treat me pretty well. And I don't know if you ever heard of it, but
I'm just saying for the general person that would walk into a Target and buy Marvel Legend, a normal person's going to go to Sideshow if they're buying Hot Toys, if they're not deep, and rooted. So that's why I use Sideshow, and because, well, in some cases that's the only place people can get there because of the damn payment plans.
Yeah,
that's what wrote me.
I've always used it, the payment plans, and then you get money back with the
the rewards.
You can trust them. You're not not going to close down.
Yep. So it's tough.
I get money back from. I just had $100 merchandise credit. I don't even know what it was. It was just I went to purchase something and it said $100 whatever it's called, merchandise credit. I don't even know where it came from, but I guess it was just built up from buying. And then so I got my Yoda Clone Wars for $64, 6 scale. I just got it today in the mail.
I think the Yoda one looks the best out of the what they do 3, right? Anakin, Obi, and Yoda.
I like the Yoda the best. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then the Ahsoka's coming out soon, and I hope she looks really good because I want her too.
Let's
Yeah.
see, yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh, what's up, Duffman?
Bo-Katan, she is $285. Yeah, so they are about like $300.
Yeah, yeah. But he was like, I think he was like 156, and then with tax and shipping, and then my $100 off, I think I paid 64 or something. So I was excited about that. I'm like, I didn't even know I had that $100 in there. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But like you said, you go into Target and you can pay, like the Dark Trooper, for instance, $38.99, the Black Series. And some people want to army build them, so you figure most people want 3 or 2 or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're close to 100 or over 100. I'd rather just buy a hot toy at that point.
Well, that's
Mhm.
the worst part
For
is
sure.
no army build figure should be that expensive. They should be
No, and it
cheaper.
was just a deluxe. That's what they called it anyway. But you
Yeah.
know what? Like they even called Wrecker a deluxe. But I've been finding Wreckers for $3.99 at Ollie's.
And
I got
same
2
with
of them for
Jar Jar
$3.99.
Binks. He was a deluxe
Mm-hmm.
just because he came with that big shield thing.
Right.
Yeah, and they put
But-
a little wider box. They don't give you much extra. They give you
No.
some of them shitty ass flames. Like that.
Oh, yeah,
I
they
never
do.
use those flames either. So
But also, not to sit on Four Horsemen's lap this whole podcast, but to your point about the army builders being cheaper. So Four Horsemen does that. They're called Legion builders, and they're just, I don't know if you guys know anything about Mythic, so shut me up if you know this, but they have Legion builders which aren't as detailed paint, and like the weapons aren't detailed. Like they take away paint applications and they have them at like a I think it's like a $35 or $30 price point. So it's like significantly cheaper, like $7 a figure, and you're getting still a great figure, but they
Right.
do take into account that people want army build these. So if the community is okay with us taking paint apps away to make it more affordable, then they do it. I don't understand why like Hasbro and stuff doesn't have like a basic stormtrooper on their website. Don't put it to retailers. Don't take up shelf space. Just ship it out of your warehouse and have it at a cheaper price point because you don't have to pay anybody. It's a D2C, direct to consumer,
Right.
and just
That's-
have them do that. I've said that for years. Why would they not do that?
Right.
It makes sense, man. I mean, I don't know why they're so gung ho about being so hard on retail, because anybody can operate a computer or a phone now. Like if you made it apparent that we're selling a basic stormtrooper with one blaster for $15, this when Marvel or Black Series were $20, $5 cheaper, you'd sell a shit ton more at $15 than you are at 20 whatever it would be nowadays. So I don't know. I think someone needs to actually do that, because I know they did it kind of with the vintage collection. I think they did like a 4-pack box, and it was just in like a cardboard box, and it was a little cheaper to buy it that way. But they've never done it with bigger scale stuff like Black Series, which is odd.
Yeah, the Mythic Legions are definitely nice. I saw them at a toy show I went to, and the guy had them out, and he was like, "Go ahead. Have you ever held one?" I'm like, "No." He was really trying. I was like,
Have you ever held one?
"Yeah." That's what he said. Man, have you held one? I'm like, "No."
To be
He's
fair,
like,
the quality is quite different than holding a Marvel Legend. Like they're a lot
well,
denser.
That's for sure.
Oh, I just looking at them on the.
But honestly, it
computer
was
screen,
even
oh,
better
yeah.
than a NECA, because NECA they've been having like quality issues for me like the past year. I mean, I've been finding shit wrong with. It's just cheap. I don't know. It's not as nice as it used to be. Some of them. But when I held that Mythic Legion, man, it felt like, I don't know. It felt like, how a hot toy has the ratcheting. It just felt smooth, like when you were trying to manipulate the joint.
Oh, I mean, I feel it. I mean, I bought. There's a moose. Like they made a big old bull moose. It's probably one of my favorite things I've ever bought in buying action figures. He's so cool. Like I wish I would have bought more. Yeah, he's super sick. So
I've just never been into like mythical shit. That's what I'm trying.
Yeah,
like, the skeletons are nice.
Yeah,
and the Vikings with the big ass beards are pretty cool. But the skeletons are probably my favorite, and that's the ones that I was kind of tempted at that toy show when he let me hold it. I was like, wow, this is pretty nice. But I said, yeah, I can't go down another rabbit hole. I got
100%
now, but we'll see.
And that's the biggest rebuttal that people give me when I do the whole price point thing. Like, obviously it's my opinion, I'm not shitting on anything, but that's the biggest thing is they're like, I just don't like that. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, everyone can appreciate it from afar, but if you like fantasy, mythical, like that lore, like Lord of the Rings type of vibe, then this is your bread and butter. Like, so if people don't know about it, like that's really where I get. And I've watched Lord of the Rings forever, dude. Like I was the nerd. I got the oh my god, I think it was the Fellowship of the Ring for Christmas one year on DVD, and I listened to it with the commentary on with the entire cast and Peter Jackson, and they would talk about every scene. Like I watched the movie so much that I ended up watching it with the commentary where I didn't listen to the movie at all because I cared so much about all these scenes.
I've done that
ridiculous.
before.
Yeah, like that's how big of a nerd I
I've
am.
never watched one episode of that, Game of Thrones or Harry Potter. And I know I'm going to get killed for saying that, but I've never watched any of those.
Yeah, so
Now,
obviously mythics are not for you whatsoever. But
I don't think so. But I do like the skeletons because I like that kind of. I don't know. The skeletons draw me to them.
Yeah.
But I know you just can't collect a shitload of skeletons. You got to move on at some point. I don't know if it's for me. We'll see. I don't know.
The only reason I've never ended up with any Mythic Legions, and I've had them in my cart on the internet multiple times. Just like my whole collection is all because of my nostalgia for stuff. So
yeah, and that's another part.
Like too. I don't know where I don't know. It's like it doesn't draw me enough.
Yeah, and because there's no video game, there's no movie,
there's no IP attached to it.
Yeah, attach me to it. That's another point. That's a good point, Colin, too.
No, that's probably the biggest point too, is that like because I started collecting mythics long time ago. I don't know if you guys know this, but
I've heard you say that. Yes, I don't know if I remember that like back then.
2018, maybe like very, very early 2019, I started collecting them. And I started making videos about them. And I was probably one of the only creators making like super dedicated video. Like I made a video that's called like Mythic Legion or collecting Mythic Legions for dummies or something like that. Like a play on that stupid book,
Right.
And I did like a little thing and that went really good. And, I did a lot to like promote mythics and in our community, I guess I'll say, like this small little thing where we all know each other. And a lot of people started collecting them, but that was always the main thing I got is there a TV show or is there a comic book? I'm like, there's technically a comic book, but it's not really like canon anymore or whatever. Like there is no like written or visual IP, but
are they working on something though?
Yeah, there's a video game coming out.
Yeah.
And then I think they're even doing like an illustrated book.
I heard something, but I forget.
For like a novel, I believe, or I don't know. But on the flip side of that, that's why a lot of people love these is because they can make it their own. And, a lot of people that's why some people only collect mythics is because they'll part swap a figure out or they'll just take a figure right out of the box and kind of give it its own backstory in a way. Like they'll add on to what Four Horsemen gave them. So it's a blessing and a curse,
Right.
I mean, it sucks that we can't, when we're bored, flip on a show and learn about them or watch them, whatever. But it's also cool because you can make it whatever you want. You can make the story your own through figures, through physical items instead of digital. So,
but I've also heard like you can buy the same figure, like 4 of them, and make a shitload of different characters, like different. They're all different. You don't have to. You could just customize them. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, very customizable. Wonder if they'll ever. It'd be cool if they ever ended up with like a Lord of the Rings license or something. Or
if they just make a movie for themselves, like that would be cool. If somebody
that'll probably come
someday,
their
brand and get a movie or something,
or even like a web series. Like they just hire like some good amateur level people to do some sort of a couple episode part on YouTube, just see how it goes.
Even like an animated, like the Clone Wars, dude. That would be in that kind of like animation. That might bring that over the top at some point. That would be pretty cool to see.
I could definitely see that because they're getting pretty big, or they've gotten pretty big.
Yeah, I mean
it seems like they're everywhere.
Also,
huge
another
following.
Beautiful reason why I'm happy that I'm back into them now is because I like them so much when I had them 4 years ago, and now they're like 20 times better, and it's still the same. Literally, it's still like the same price. I think maybe they've increased their figure price like a couple of dollars, but it's also like shown. Like back then, you're getting like 2 head sculpts, some good paint, some accessories. Now you're getting 3-4 head sculpts, different armor, different torso swap outs, all this stuff for $5 more.
Yeah.
So it's actually worth the increase versus other stuff.
I've heard like the community around it's really good too. Like,
Yes, by far the most positive community in a toy realm, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's definitely the best community.
That's a freaking plus.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Definitely. Does Karina? What does Karina think about these things? Does she like these better than the hot toys, or what? Or does she just doesn't give a shit about
she loved the hot toys, like 100% love them. But once again, she likes these just because she knows I'm happy. Like she'll like anything. I mean, dude, we've tried to collect sports cards, kind of collected shoes, but I never called it collecting. I just bought a shit ton of them.
Mm-hmm.
Comic books, art. Like I've wanted to collect and buy an enormous amount of so many things, and every time she's like, yeah, let's do it. I love it. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So she likes them. I know she doesn't like them as much as the hot toys because she used to be pretty hyped for them. Like she would love when I got them in. These, she's kind of like, oh, those are cool.
That's how my wife is. She's like, they're cool, but she's like, see ya. Like, that is what it is. As long as I'm happy. But
yeah, like when I would
she doesn't really collect anything. Does Karina collect anything at all?
Yeah, she has a shit ton of Harry Potter Lego.
Oh, okay.
And
that's right. Yeah, I remember
Disney sets. Yeah, she has a bunch of Disney sets too.
Dude, those Harry Potter Lego sets are awesome though.
Dude, all the Lego sets are awesome. We actually watch 2. It's funny, the only like toy content I watch is not, like, no offense to any of my friends if you're watching, like I don't watch any of my friends. I'm subscribed and whatever, but I'm just to the point where I don't need to see their content really anymore. You know what I mean? And it's not, it's just, I don't know, it's a little too blunt, but it is what it is. But I watch 2 Lego YouTubers, and my wife and I for some reason love them because they have like their whole entire basement a custom Lego city. And like every episode, it's so like riveting because they're like, all right, we're taking apart downtown, and they like fucking do a tornado and swap it up. And they just built this massive thing from scratch. And I'm like, this is insane. Like some of the stuff that they do is crazy.
I love those big sets. Like they're like walking around them and shit. It's like with those, like how they used to do like movie sets back in the day. Like
it's like Star Wars, like the very first Star Wars with the little like on the Brixie. Okay, Duffman. Okay, Brixie. Yes, Brixie and Emmosaurus are the ones that we watch. That's so funny.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I like Legos, but I build them, especially in the wintertime when I'm bored and it's cold out and I need something to fill some time.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes me away, just for a few, a little bit.
I love doing Legos, but it's like, where the fuck do I put those now?
Dude, yeah, but every time you try to fucking move it, like I moved my Death Watch Trooper and it fucking fell apart. So now it's in my closet over here waiting for me to try to figure out how to put it back together.
Yeah.
So it pisses me off, but
dude, we had
supposed to tranquil me, not piss me off,
Dude, we had the envision of doing that Lego City thing, like all this. So we like bought one table for my kid. We're like, all right, we can like set up the little houses or whatever here. And dude, we got that thing home and we looked at all the Lego sets and we're like, yeah, we don't have the room for this.
I mean, it's just like those people that do like the big train sets.
Yes,
it's like the same thing, but just with Legos.
Dude, it was insane. So I sold all my sets. That's her one thing. She used to collect pops, Harry Potter pops specifically, and we sold all of those. And now she's just focused on all Harry Potter sets. And she's done, and I've gotten her some of the big Disney sets, like the big Disney castle, and like the Disney train station set. Mm-hmm. Those were 2 pretty expensive, like big ones that I got for her Disney stuff. But everything else is like she'll buy like the smallest Harry Potter set all the way up to the most expensive one.
There's some really crazy ones.
I want that Home Alone house.
Oh my
God. That one. My buddy Kyle, he's pretty big into Lego too. He buys a lot of like the bigger like one-off sets, and he got the Home Alone house. And he says one of his favorite builds.
No, yeah, that thing looks awesome.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Every time I walk past the Lego store, I'm like looking in their window to see what else they have. They got some.
I kind of just want to like buy the one in the window that's already built, so I don't have to go through the hassle and shit. Like, how much for that one?
Dude,
but
I think Lego has the best marketing because if you look at the boxes and everything, the sets look so cool, and then when you get them home and you build them, you're like, this really isn't as cool as I thought it was going to be.
Because you're missing all like the background shit
Oh,
that
yeah.
they put on the box, you
And
know.
the little the
I was
like
just
the-
talking about that with somebody. Like,
Yeah.
once you take all that, like it's like what play sets on, like when you buy like those Star Wars
Yep.
vintage collection play sets. Like there's the bunker one. Well, you get home and you take it out of the box. It's literally just the
Yeah,
bunker.
just
You don't
the
get to see the
plastic.
nice sand hills
Yeah.
behind it and shit. You
Mhm.
know.
like
Yeah.
the Star Wars sets especially. All the like the city sets are kind of different because you can like they pair together, but like the it's from the Obi-Wan series. It's when Darth Vader and Obi-Wan they fight in the little sand pit area when he strikes
Mhm.
fire. They
Mhm.
have that, and it's like it comes with Obi-Wan. I think that the droid and Vader or whatever, and it's $40, and it's just a little square
Yep.
and like
Perfect.
some stuff on it. But
Mhm.
the whole thing, it's like you see like the dark background and all the blasters and the lightsabers are lit up and the fire going everywhere. It looks awesome on the box.
Yeah.
Then you build it and it's a little disappointing.
And then you put it on the kitchen table and you're like, well, shit, that's it.
Yeah, there's
Like-
$45.
yeah.
I have I have two of the ships from one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I have
Ooh.
the Black Pearl and I have
Those
Queen
are
Anne's Revenge.
expensive
Those things are awesome. I got them
Yeah.
both in my basement.
That's
Take
sick.
that shit to the beach and lay it right against the water. And
Dude,
Fuck
those are
no.
expensive now too.
Yeah, they're really expensive now.
Yeah, that's super
I'm
cool.
so happy I have those too.
Yeah.
Those were dude. They took forever to build because every block is like
Over
tiny.
1,000 pieces, right, or more?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and they're all like really small blocks because everything's real detailed. You know.
Yeah. Dude, Lego is awesome. I personally love it. That's something that I have to appreciate from afar because I don't have the space to do
Yep,
it.
that's
at
exactly
all.
what I
That's the
do.
thing. Like, I got some on top of my detolfs, but I'm like, yeah, the bigger ones, I don't have anywhere to put those.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like when I'm putting them together, you know how you first start out and you're good to go and you're nice and relaxed. You start getting pissed off. My wife's like, it's time to put it away for the night. You know what I mean? Because you're starting to get a little angry with it because shit's falling apart. And
Yeah.
it's I don't have the patience for it, but I still try to do it, and I enjoy it. But I know when to say when now because I got to stop when I get pissed off.
Yeah. My wife built the Hogwarts castle, like the big one. I think she built that in. I think it was over the course of a weekend because I bought it for her because she let me go down to Brian's for a weekend or something, something like that. It might have even been like a Toylanta trip or something. I don't remember, but it was just a kind of like, hey, you can be occupied while I'm gone for the weekend. So yeah,
probably like you can leave more often.
Yeah, she made out on that trip for sure.
I don't know how people do the speed builds because like it would take me 8 hours and I'd have to edit a lot of video and a lot of cursing and shit like that because. Who was I watching? Star Wars Sith. He did a helmet the other day, and I don't know how long it really took. But when you're watching, it's like an hour and a half. But I mean, it must have taken a lot more longer than that. And I'm like, damn, I don't know that I can do that, like a speed build online.
Yeah, I mean, I have to do it for 20, 30 minutes and like do something else. I just for some reason it gets so redundant where I have to like sit up and like actually look up for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, Carlos says he's only getting 3 Hot Toys: the Crow, Captain America, and Spider-Man. I want to see what he says after he gets those.
He could have had the Captain America Endgame. I had it for sale. I told him I'd give him a payment plan.
After you get those 3, I want to come back to this statement.
Yeah, because that's going to spawn off. You know it is.
Because once you get one, dude, it's over.
Yeah. You get addicted, man. It's like, but that's why I sold those 3 because I wanted to stick with Star Wars myself. But
how many Hot Toys do you have now, Joe?
I would say close to 30 probably now. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I just got the Luke.
Is that the Bestman, Luke?
The deluxe with the Dark Trooper.
Oh, that one.
And then the Ahsoka. And then I got the Mando from you. With the speeder bike. And then I got the Boba on the throne down in ICCC, and I actually found the heavy Mando. J2SO sent me a message one day. Hey, somebody's selling that thing for like I forget. It was dirt cheap, like from what they are going for. and I jumped on there. I was like, I'll take it as long as you take Cash App or whatever, because I got Cash App now because that Venmo shit. You know the story. But
yeah. No, that's crazy. I forgot that you got the Mando, dude. I had at IC last year. Well, the year that I was there, Cody Foxy, I think he bought Heavy Mando for like it's like $200.
That's a
Someone
good
had it at the
price.
lobby
Yeah.
swap. I mean, it was like it was cheap enough to where I contemplated buying it just to resell because it was like that's worth making $100.
I bought my first hot toy at ICCC 22.
What'd you buy?
Death Trooper. Actually, it was a Death Trooper, and then when I got home, Totally Rad Toy House had a artillery trooper, and I didn't buy it there, and I'm glad I didn't because when I got home, I ordered online, and they didn't charge tax or shipping, so I saved the shitload because Tennessee tax is like 9%.
Yeah.
So you guys went to that store too last year, I believe.
We did.
Totally Rad Toy House. It was that little place you go through the back door.
Oh.
Yeah. So I got it from there.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
And
I didn't know that's what that one. I've heard people talk about that. I didn't know I was there.
Yeah, you were. Well, I can attest you were because I watched it the other day again because I was going back through some of OG's videos. I think it was him.
Yeah, it would have been him. Yeah, it's when
Yeah.
I remember going to that store. I just didn't remember.
Well, they moved down the street now. They have a different building, but it's weird because like it's still the same. Like you can still go through the back door. And I'm like, how did you find another building exactly the same? And why did you move? Like, what's going on here? But
it's kind of the same thing.
That freaked me out. Yeah. So what's next for Josh Pence? Before we wind up here, what's
let's see.
What's on the horizon? Star Wars Hot Toys?
Nope.
You never know.
I mean, content-wise, I need to do a live stream to open up some of these figures because I typically save to open stuff to do on a live stream just to kind of two birds, one stone, make content and be productive. But I've been so busy and then I've been so addicted to Diablo 4 that I just haven't put very much time into that. So content-wise, probably going to do some live streams hopefully this weekend, if not the beginning of next week, and then prepare for Brian and Natalie to get here in August, real life time, and then probably make a video at PowerCon. Maybe we'll see.
Primarily cons is your video. No more Target, Walmart, shit like that. You're not going to do that anymore for the most part.
Nope. And then obviously toy stores. Like if I go to toy department, I might film. But actually, that's a good reason you bring that up. Toy department, they're moving to a bigger store in the beginning of July, and I think they're going to try to get me in there to film a video before they open. So that might actually be coming up sooner than I thought, now that you say something. So there will be a not toy show related video. Oh, that's cool. I forgot about that. That'll be fun. Yeah, their new store's huge.
Yeah, toy stores and cons are like the more fun ones to do for me. I'm
over.
I know people say you're going to Target and Walmart to show everybody else what they have, but like I'm not really like. There's nothing to brag about here in Maryland. Like there's it's a shithole of a Walmart and Target that we have.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's nothing to write home about here either, man. Yeah. Like I'm so over that. Yeah. It was fun every once in a while when we would go to like a bunch, or we would mix in where we would do like Target, GameStop, and Walmart. But then, like I said, man, it's a 10, 12-hour day out doing that. And then, I want to edit it at least.
10 to 12-hour day of seeing the same shit over and over pretty much.
Especially if you're making content, you're saying the same thing. Here's this Iron Man. Here's this Stormtrooper. Here's it at a different background. Woohoo.
Yep. And here's
I'm still not buying it.
Yeah, here's the back of the box. Here's the NECA Funko section. No offense, Seth, but NECA Funko. But yeah, and I don't even look at the Funko Pops anymore. I mean, once in a while, that one sticks out at me that I like, and
I feel like Funko's dying. Honestly,
it seems to be.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, look at all the stores that they used to be overflowing in, and now they're barely displaying them, like Hot Topic and Barnes and Noble, and all those like really random stores that you never thought would be so successful off of Funkos, and now they're like, yeah, we don't keep them anymore.
I feel bad for those people that opened up strictly a pop store, like they don't even barely change the I think the pops that are like still at my Targets for they put some out, but those ones usually just sell because they're like exclusives. They've been like the same pops for like the last year and a half.
Yeah,
it's pretty devastating, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not that good.
No.
So I'm all out, and my wife
Yep.
is too. Thank God.
Yeah.
Well, we're winding down here. Anything else you want to plug before you go,
Um,
or anything?
No, just
Last
just the
word?
live stream stuff. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's really what we'll be
Yeah.
looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to it because I'll be able to open some stuff.
Well, you're welcome here anytime. You're welcome here to just shoot the shit, open toys with us, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, the door is always open, man.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Definitely. And we appreciate you for coming on. Stick around backstage. We'll say our goodbyes if you don't mind.
Yep, that sounds good.
And I'll just plug a few things. First of all, thanks to the chat. They were pretty active tonight, and appreciate everybody for stopping by and checking us out. On Sunday this week, I know we said we're not going to be on Sundays anymore, but we're not going to be on our show. We're going to be on Yakking with Yukon, myself and Colin as guests, and you never know what the fuck we're going to say. So I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern when that comes on. So check that out. And then right here next week, 9 p.m., Old Tom Solo. So I went to a smaller con a few weeks ago, and I ran into a gentleman who makes dioramas, and I actually purchased one off of him. He's making it right now. Pretty cool diorama, pretty cool guy to talk to, and we're gonna show off some of his diorama work and his photography work, and plug him and watch him and talk to him about everything he does, and he'll show us all the stuff that he gets into. So that's next week at 9 p.m. But for now, that's what effing figures, and we will see you all next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Later, guys.